You are part of the executive. The president has said, as he said for the 100th time, that we are not under the ICC. Why is the SOJ now saying that we are nevertheless, somehow, in some miraculous way, under the rubric of the international humanitarian law, still under its jurisdiction?
Your Honor, it is not the Philippines that is under the jurisdiction. It is the individuals who are charged by the ICC, which is under the jurisdiction. There is a distinction, ma'am. But over the individuals who may have committed crimes that violate international humanitarian law, that is a universal value being held by the whole world today, that people cannot cross borders and hide behind boundaries so that they can run away from the law.
Whatever, policeman, local government, sabihin nyo, wag nyo sasagutin. Yun ang sagot natin. That we do not recognize your jurisdiction, therefore we will not assist in any way, shape, or form any of the investigations that the ICC is doing here in the Philippines.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's it? All right.
Okay. On the 18th of February, the president said, my position has not changed. I have stated it often, even before I took office as president, that there are many questions about ICC's jurisdiction and that we here in the Philippines regard as an intrusion into our internal matters and a threat to our sovereignty. Does the DFA agree with this statement? And do we abide by this position until today? Anyone from the DFA, please?
Madam Chair, good morning.
Yes, you recognize USEC.
Yes, thank you. Well, as I speak right now, the Philippines is not a member of the ICC. And the DFA defers to the Department of Justice as the implementing agency when it comes to cooperation on ICC matters. Madam Chair.
Yes, so to the best of your knowledge and in the consideration of the DFA, we are not a member of the ICC.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And the DOJ, having been referred to, may I call on Secretary Remulla, please, to clarify this issue.
We are not members of the ICC, ma'am. So, whatever relationship we have with the ICC is on an arm's length basis if we have to talk to them. But we have never spoken to them. We have never spoken to them.
I didn't hear you. Whatever relationship we have
It's on an arm's length basis, meaning very transparent if ever. But we have never spoken to them.
arm's length.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have had contact even at
No, ma'am.
arm's length?
We do not have any contact. What we're saying is we are very transparent about what we do, and we have never had any contact with the ICC.
So you uphold the statement of the president saying that the ICC has no jurisdiction here in the Philippines. Is that correct?
Ma'am, jurisdiction of the ICC is throughout the world. We belong to a community of nations
Regardless
that
of
is
those
tied
who are
together by a legal system called international humanitarian law. It is something adopted by more than 150 countries in the world. International humanitarian law, which became a law in 2009 or 2010. And that law, that domestic law, is what we adhere to in this case.
Are you referring to RA 9851?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you indicated the date of 2009, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So therefore, we are not members of the ICC.
We are not members of the ICC since President Duterte withdrew our membership in 2018, effective 2019.
Okay. That being the position of the DILG, I assume that Secretary Remulla in the DILG also maintains the same.
Yes, ma'am. I defer to the wisdom of the Department of Justice.
And the PNP, General Marbil, please.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If that is therefore an unqualified yes, and you are in agreement with the President that the ICC has no jurisdiction whatsoever, what was the DOJ referring to as the ICC's jurisdiction in the Philippines being different from us being a member? What is the distinction, please?
Ma'am, the ICC tries people for individual crimes, not states. So the Philippines, as a state, cannot be called upon by the ICC to do something for them. But when the ICC is running after individuals who are Filipino citizens, then that obligation becomes another kind of obligation.
So that therefore, the Senate ratification of the ICC at the time that it was ratified is of no weight. Regardless, you will fall under the jurisdiction of the ICC, under
Well, for
so-called
individuals-
international.
Yes, madam,
humanitarian- that is your belief, DOJ.
Yes, madam. When there are
Regardless
individuals
of the party
being
or not
when
from the
there are
party.
individuals being asked by the ICC to explain, it is another matter. As a state is different from an individual. We all know that we have to.
I think that is
the
not the
individuals
question.
being charged by the ICC will have to face the ICC.
I'm perplexed. The DFA made it very clear that as we withdrew, we are no longer a state party to the treaty, and now you're saying that we can nevertheless fall under the ICC, under the generic rubric of international humanitarian law. So it doesn't matter whether you sign or do not sign, whether
Yes,
you
ma'am.
ratify
It
or
doesn't
do not
matter, ma'am.
ratify.
It doesn't
makes no
matter.
difference.
No, that doesn't make any difference anymore.
Are you certain?
I'm certain.
Okay, Attorney Saret, please, from DFA. Is that the position of the DFA?
Madam Chair, I concur with my USEC, the current acting SFA, that as far as we are concerned, we're no longer members of the ICC, ma'am.
And as non-members, can we possibly fall under the jurisdiction of the ICC under the rubric of international humanitarian law? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I think, because we, under the,
What's the use of signing or ratifying a treaty if it bears no weight?
yes, ma'am, I defer, ma'am, to Secretary Remulla.
May
on
I?
this one, ma'am.
I think it's your purview, your DFA.
Yes, ma'am. But yes, ma'am, technically we are no longer a member of the ICC, but we might be obligated under residual jurisdiction as what the Supreme Court in one case already mentioned, that we still have residual jurisdiction. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes,
Madam Chair, if I may.
I'm a little bit perplexed given that you are part of the executive. The president has said, as he said for the 100th time, that we are not under the ICC. Why is the SOJ now saying that we are nevertheless somehow, in some miraculous way, under the rubric of the international humanitarian law, still under its jurisdiction?
Your Honor, it is not the Philippines that is under the jurisdiction. It is the individuals who are charged by the ICC, which is under the jurisdiction. There is a distinction, ma'am.
Please explain.
As non-members of the ICC, and as a state, the ICC has no jurisdiction over us as a country. But over the individuals who may have committed crimes that violate international humanitarian law, that is a universal value being held by the whole world today, that people cannot cross borders and hide behind boundaries so that they can run away from the law. International humanitarian law is something adopted. The principles are adopted by more than 150 countries throughout the world, Your Honor.
Are you of the position, therefore, that international humanitarian law, as you said, is customary law? Is that the consideration?
It is already customary law now. As we speak, it has become customary law throughout the world.
Are you aware that procedural and admin matters do not form part of customary law? Surely, the Secretary is well aware that procedural and administrative matters will still have to comply with the laws of the land.
Of course, Madam, this goes without saying.
Okay, thank you. Senator Jinggoy, I think you wanted to interject at this juncture. We recognize the senator.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. The DFA, the DOJ, the DILG, and the PNP has already admitted that we are not members of the Philippines is not a member of the ICC. Therefore, why did we surrender a Filipino citizen before the ICC? Anyone can answer, Madam Chair.
We surrendered an individual to the ICC who was a subject of a warrant of arrest. That's what we did.
I-110 South from San Pedro.
I did not hear you again.
Mr. Senator, we surrendered an individual to the ICC. We did not surrender as a country, but he was surrendered due to a warrant of arrest issued by the ICC through the Interpol.
Senator Jinggoy?